Welcome back, guys. So today's topic is conditional statements. Okay, so we'll study if-else statements. Okay, then we'll also see switch case statements. Okay, and we'll also see if, else, if, and else. Okay, so what happens is sometimes you might want to run a program when a certain condition is met. Like in last time we saw logical operators, right? We took an example of getting marks above 50 and less than 70, right? Let's say if first let's create a marks variable. So I write marks. I hope that you guys are comfortable with creating variables now. Let's say I get 50 marks and I also create a condition. So the syntax for if condition in JavaScript is this, and if else is this. Okay, so here you'll write the condition and here you'll write whatever the code is. Okay, and even here you'll write the code. So if that condition seems to be true, then everything inside this if block, this curly braces, right, this from opening to this, everything inside this particular code will run only if this condition is met. Otherwise, in this else code, this code will run. If you don't have this else, it will only check this condition and only run this code when the condition is true. That's it. And after that, it will just run whatever code is below it, right? Just like a normal program, it will follow the top to bottom approach. Now, let's say I have more than two conditions. So I'll write else if, and I'll also give the condition here. So now I can have as many conditions that I want. Say I can provide another else if, and if these three conditions are not met, then I want to do something. So let's say else. So here, now that we know the basic syntax, let's actually code an example. Okay, let's say I want to create a program for giving grade to a student. So if marks is greater than 90, if the student gets above 90 marks, I'll print the grade as A. I'll print A grade. Okay, now if the students get above 80, or let's say above 70, and marks less than 90, okay, so I'll give him a B grade. Okay, now if the marks is in the range of 50 and less than equal to 70, between 50 and 70, I'll give him a C grade. Okay, now below 50, whatever it is, I'll just give him a fail. Okay, whatever it is, that's what else means. It doesn't, that's what else means. Everything, any other case other than these three where you have specifically mentioned a condition, that's when else case will run. Okay, so let's actually see what happens here. When you run this code, what happens is this if block is run. Okay, first this marks variable is created, then this condition is checked. Marks greater than 90? No, it's not, right? So this code is not run. This block, anything inside this curly braces is a block, right? We have defined a block of code. Okay, now the next condition is checked. Okay, else if. Okay, so marks is greater than 70. Is marks greater than 70? No, it's not, right? And is marks less than equal to 90? Yes, it is, but this condition is false and we have used AND operator. So even this overall the result will be false, right? Because this condition is false and the next condition is true, and we know overall that will give us a false. So this code block will not run again. Now it will check the next condition. So when it checks marks is greater than 50 and marks less than 70. So it's definitely less than 70. So let's actually write the logic. For the first condition, let's ask ourselves, is marks greater than 50? See, marks is equal to 50. Okay, so it's not greater. So this condition will be false. And the second condition, less than equal to 70, that's true. It's less than 70. So overall, it should give us a false. And so again, this block of code will not run. Okay, anything inside this will not run. Okay, so it will go to the last case, else case. And now we don't have to check condition. It will just run this. Okay, so it will this if else block, this whole condition, a whole set of conditional statements should give us a final result of console log fail and not anything else. Let's see what it gives us, and you'll see that the fail is getting printed. So that's how you use these statements. Now if I say, let's see if I change this to, let's say 70, right? And if you check which of these conditions is met, you'll see that equal to 70 is written in this third case. So I should get a C grade, and you'll see the C is getting printed. Now if I print anything greater than 90, I should get an A grade, right? So let's say I print 95, you'll see that I get an A grade. And the most interesting thing is, out of all of these blocks, only one block will run, because only one time that condition will be true, right? Only one case can be true in this case. So these blocks, these conditions are interconnected. Now let's say if you want to check condition, but you don't want it to be interconnected, like if and then condition, and then you'll write the code. So this will be a block of code. You'll write again an if condition. So what happens is, this if block and this if block are two separate conditions. So even if this is true, this if conditions will also run. Like whatever, if I write console.log 1 and console.log 2. See, in interconnected if else blocks, what happens is only one case is run. But here, since I've disconnected them, if I give, let's say, marks is greater than 50 and marks less than 100. So in this case, what will happen is, first we'll get an A grade, but in this case, both of the if conditions are checked separately. So 1 and 2 both are being printed. In this connected case, only one case will run, but in disconnected case, all the conditions will be checked separately, because these if blocks are not connected. Okay, if you want to connect them, you'll have to write else if. Now if I run the code again, see, only the first case is getting printed, because these are connected, so only one case will run. And since this case ran first, it didn't go to the else if. That's the logic. Okay, now that we have worked with the if else case, we'll see switch case. Okay, again, switch case is also a control flow statement or conditional statement, and it's basically it's very similar to if else, not in the syntax but the main logic. And it's basically used when you want to check different values for a same variable. Like for example, let's say I have a choice and I have been given a choice, like for example, I can select 1 2 3 4 or A B C D options, right? So I'm declaring A, right? And based on this choice, okay, I want to do different things. Let's say in case that the choice is A, I want to print A, and that's it. If the choice was B, I want to print B, okay, and if it's anything other than these two cases, let's say, so I'll just give a default. Like if it's not in one of these cases, if it's a very different choice, then I'll say invalid choice, and I'll just throw an error. Okay, so when I run this, you'll see that A is printed. So what happens is, in switch case, what happens is you give a certain expression or variable. Here you give a variable, and then you define cases like what could be the possible value for that variable, right? It could be a number, it could be a string, it could be just Boolean values, it could be anything. You give the expression here, and you can define various cases, case 1, case 2, again expression 2, right? You can define all these expressions, and if that variable uh, matches that expression, then the following block of code will run. Okay, here whatever the code is, it will run. Okay, so that's the basic logic behind switch case, and we also provide a default value as well. So even if it doesn't match any expression, it will just jump onto the default value. So in any case, you will have a result. Like for example, I have only specified the A case here and the B case here, right? So if I provide any other value to choice, like for example, if I say random, so it's, see, it will check the variable choice, and it will check if it's the, if choice is equal to A, no, choice is not equal to A. Is choice equal to B? No, it's not equal to B. Then it will run the default case. Okay, so in here we'll have a log, console log input choice, and we'll also see an error. When I run this, you'll see first invalid choice is being printed, and we get a syntax error. Okay, so that is basically how we use switch case.